Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, our honored guest. Sometimes the best answer to a complex problem is a simple solution. But right now in our country, we are in the midst of a complex problem. For example, the cost of healthcare is skyrocketing, so the government wants to make sure that everybody has health insurance to help pay for it. But we currently have over 500,000 people unemployed, so that's a lot of people for the government to pay for. In addition to that, there are some big businesses, some major corporations that screwed up. They took some obscene risk and they failed. So they came to the government, they said, please help us, please, because if you don't, we're going to fail. But not only are we going to fail, because if we fail, they're going to fail, and they're going to fail too. So just help us all. But the government already doesn't have enough money to cover their own budgets. So we're already taking away from the education of our future leaders in order to put money over here to make sure we have plenty to pave and fix roads. Because after all, paving and fixing roads is more jobs, which is more tax revenue and bigger budgets and more jobs. Which, if you look at it from afar, seems like it might work. But we know it won't. We know in reality we're just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now, I stand before you today with that solution. And yes, it is simple. As radical as it may sound, with one stroke of the president's pen, we could kill this recession. With the millions generated in tax revenue and the billions that can be saved in the city, state, and federal budgets, the legalization of marijuana could kill this recession. Now see, when I talk to people about legalization of marijuana, they're either one of two things. They're either A, completely, totally, yes, let's do it for it, or they're indifferent. Now people that are indifferent about this panoptic issue sometimes don't realize or don't stop to think about that they're paying billions of tax dollars to stop and prohibit something that they're simply indifferent about. Most people that are indifferent don't think it's that big a deal. They don't think you should probably go to jail for it. And if it was taxed and treated like alcohol, most people wouldn't have a big problem with it. Now, did you know that to enforce the prohibition of marijuana, we spend $10 billion annually? And that results in the arrest of more than 847,000 individuals. Now that number, 847,000 people, that's far more than the total number of all violent crime arrestees combined. That includes rape and murder, robbery, assaults. And of that 847,000, about 90%, about 750,000 were arrested on simple misdemeanor possession only. Now, our jail systems are currently so overflowing and bursting at the seams that we don't know what to do. Just here locally, we're trying to figure out what to do for our immediate and future solutions to the overpopulations of our jails. We're currently letting out violent offenders, repeat offenders, just to make room for the more bodies to come in. Now, I can tell you that you, the taxpayer, pays $30,000 a year, or $30,000 per drug offender. But I think the stat that's really going to stick with you, the one that you're not going to be able to forget long after you've forgotten the speech, is that we pay 3 times more to incarcerate one person than we spend to educate the average American child. Like I said, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now, there are currently 14 states that allow marijuana in some form. Maine being the newest, as of 2 weeks ago, those elections, they voted to allow medical marijuana, and California being the biggest and most popular. Now, according to Fortune magazine, in 2008, California's revenue for marijuana sales approached $2.5 billion. Now that equals about $220 million in tax revenue. $220 million is a lot of money that can affect a lot of budgets. And in our country, we're so concerned about healthcare, how we're going to pay for healthcare. Well, marijuana can affect that as well. Not only from the tax generation, but also there will be more small independent businesses springing up in relation to the marijuana industry, which creates more jobs, more money, more tax income. The other effect that marijuana is going to have on the healthcare industry isn't just financial. Let me ask you this. think to yourself, in your medicine cabinet, you have Tylenol or Advil, Pepto-Bismol, Midol, Ambien, Zoloft, because marijuana can treat the same symptoms as all these synthetic prescription drugs, from headaches to nausea, cramps, depression, anxiety, sleeplessness. Marijuana treats them all. And in 14 states, a doctor can prescribe them for you. If I'm going to talk about marijuana as a medicine, I do have to point out that even the most common, what we think is the most harmless on that list is Tylenol. Everybody has Tylenol. Everybody's taking Tylenol. But even Tylenol can kill you if taken in excess. Marijuana cannot. Nobody has ever died from an overdose of marijuana. There was a scientific study done that said it would take 800 joints smoked in 1 hour to kill you from an overdose of marijuana. But you wouldn't actually die from an overdose. You would die from carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, when I talk to people about the future of the legalization of marijuana, they always ask, well, what's the future? What does it look like? And I have to be honest, the future looks bright. It looks like it's going to happen. There are currently 14 states, like I said, that have it legalized on some level, with 14 more currently weighing legislation to have it legalized by next year. Just around us, Colorado already has medical marijuana. Texas and Missouri are pending. So what can you do? What should you do? Well, depends on how you feel. Either way, you should contact your elected government official and let them know. You can call them, email them, write them a letter, let them know. Let them know if you think that, hey, that's a lot of money. We should be making it regardless of everything else. We should be making some money on that. Or if you think it is ridiculous that we are wasting our tax dollars locking up someone who's just going to go laugh and eat some cheeseburgers, let them know that as well. Now, I will say marijuana will affect everybody if it's legalized. We'll have more tax money, more jobs, more access to the health care. But it's not going to happen if we don't do anything about it. So we have to act. It's up to all of us. Thank you very much.